So today we are looking at joy as a fruit of the Spirit. Although on the face of it, the reading from 1 Corinthians 3 might not seem relevant. To me, it seems not only relevant, but gives us an insight into how the fruits of the Spirit are gained and how they mature. In the reading, we hear how the writer has laid a foundation, how through Jesus we have been given a start, a base on which to build. But it is up to us to build upon it in the right way, to help it grow with the right materials. To me, these materials are the fruits of the Spirit, and the Spirit is the foundation. After all, the passage goes on to say that God's Spirit dwells within us, that each have that Spirit within us, that we are in fact temples in which God dwells. That's kind of heady stuff. So, we have the foundation, the Holy Spirit. We have the instructions, the teachings of Jesus Christ. And we have the materials, the fruits of the Spirit. But still, it is up to us how we build, how we maintain and inhabit that temple. We can, for instance, only use some of the materials. Or we can use way more of one than another. Or in fact, use none of them. Each of these paths will decide how we live into the temple that we have been given. It is this that decides on how the fruits mature within us and in our lives. It is how we choose to build that decides what fruits mature and grow. But the reading doesn't stop there. No, it goes on to talk about how we cannot rely on wisdom, or to put it another way, knowledge. It makes clear that our intellect, our wisdom, our knowledge, our understanding is not the same as God's. And that if we just accept that, then everything can be ours, because we are of Christ, and Christ is of God. Now, that's a great phrase. We are of Christ, and Christ is of God. Again, indicating that we are inextricably linked, inextricably connected to God. The point of wisdom or knowledge being seen as foolish by God is, to me, quite well made. I truly believe that we spend too much time studying God, trying to understand God, trying to examine, uncover, and even at times evaluate God. But to me, God cannot be understood with our intellect, with our intelligence. God is like love, joy, and maybe even sorrow. You cannot really quantify them in yourself. You must feel them to have a hope of getting any sort of understanding of what they are. I believe God must be felt inside, be experienced deep down within us, to have any hope of getting a handle on what is, after all, the immenseness of God. The thing is, I believe we all had that once. At some point in our lives, we all had that openness of feeling, of self, that we could just accept and feel God's presence. That we could just accept the full nature of God. And I believe that's when we were kids. Often we hear from Christ how the innocence of children helps them to see the kingdom of heaven. That Christ told us to come at faith like a child, with that innocence, with no preconceptions. So to me that says that there's no need to examine every facet, to pull it apart, but just to be open and to feel it. But modern life gets in the way. Life happens to us all. It batters us. It pushes us. It shouts at us. It crowds us in. And at times, it demands our full attention and pushes us to do things, be things, achieve things, to be a certain way, maybe even to be a certain person. Life is just so demanding. Yet as we heard at the beginning of the reading, each one should build with care. Each one of us needs to be deliberate in building into our lives some time to just be and feel. A time to put away our preconceptions, open ourselves up, and to just accept God as God. Not try to put the divine in a box, all neatly labelled. That is never going to work. It's like trying to lock up joy, to capture it and hold it. We hear often that God is love. But God is also joy, hope, and many other feelings that are difficult to explain. Because what I hear from this reading is that God is part of us, and we are part of God. Inextricably linked by the Spirit. So in a broad sense, that is what the reading said to me. But today we are looking at joy. Now the dictionary definition of joy is a feeling of great happiness or pleasure. I'm not sure I agree with that. I don't think it goes far enough. It's not a great description of joy. To me, joy is so much more. For me, joy takes over my entire being. It swamps me completely. True joy cannot be contained. It cannot be held in. It demands expression. It fights to be let out. Whether that is in a smile that just won't quit, or a shout, or dancing, or tears. Joy demands to be seen, to be heard, and to be acknowledged. It takes us over. But the great thing about joy is that it often arrives unexpected. It often appears out of nowhere, without any warning. I myself have experienced that when riding my bike. I've come around a corner and seen a sight that just stops me in my tracks. And I just had to stop and stare. Sometimes smiling like a loon. Other times just staring and enjoying the peace. Then there have been times when I've felt it here, in this room, during a service. A feeling of such soul-deep happiness has come over me that I've sung louder, smiled broader, and even kind of danced. Because joy knows no boundaries. It just needs to be allowed in. It just needs us to be open to it, like a child, open to the wonder of the world around us, receptive to the joy of just being, despite the walls life tries to build around us. And of course, another thing about joy, which is quite interesting, is that it's highly contagious. Sometimes joy spreads like an explosion. Someone cannot contain their joy and it bursts out, reaching those around them. Suddenly they are smiling, laughing, crying for no apparent reason. And then just as suddenly it's over, leaving behind it wet eyes and aching ribs from laughing, tired faces from smiling, even though many of those involved might not know why they felt like that. Joy connects us to each other at a very deep, very intense level, but can also be very fleeting. So, and this is a shock, I agree with Jesus. We need to be as children. We need to rediscover that wonder, that openness to the world around us, and the joy that every day can bring. So that is why I say God is joy, as well as love, because God connects us, and connects to us at a very intense, deep level. And like joy, can be overwhelming, can take over every part of our being, so that we do things we never expected to, or would never usually do. Also, like joy, that deep connection with God can be fleeting, unless we learn to be like children, and just accept that God is.